Hey guys, welcome to Revamp, the podcast, where we are revamping the way adults do life. I'm your host, Felicia Creighton.
And I'm your co-host, Andrea Creighton. Let's get into today's topic.
All right, guys, we are back with another episode here for you guys. We're in Atlanta today.
ATL.
We're in Atlanta. Andrew had a conference, and we just decided, we're like, let's bring the lights and the tripod and let's shoot. So we're super excited to be here with you guys today. We have a fun little episode. Of course, you guys know I'm excited. We're talking all about what kind of friend are you? And so we decided we were going to take a quiz today.
Yes, we took a quiz before this conversation.
Right before this, yeah.
Because we just didn't want to have an opinion about what kind of friend, but we kind of wanted to see, like, subconsciously, what kind of friend are we?
Yeah, and it was dead on the money.
It was.
So literally exactly what I am as a person is exactly what showed up. It said, and it's Jenny Allen, and we're gonna leave the description for this. You guys can do this at the end of this episode. You guys can go take it, see what kind of friend you are, and it'll kind of tie up some loose ends in your life. But I ended up being a challenger, and you were?
I was an encourager.
So I'm going to read what a challenger is, and maybe this is you, but you'll see after the quiz. So it says, the challenger is the friend who isn't afraid to tell you the truth. That's 100% me.
Yeah.
They won't let you settle and are quick to call you out if you get off track. They might not be your easiest friend, and you might have to work through conflict here and there, but they make you better every time. And that is 100%.
I was going to say, so that resonated with you. I mean, as soon as I saw the title, I was like, I don't even care what it reads like. That is you 100%.
But I think one of the tips for the challenger was that accountability is amazing, and we do a great job with that. But also, she goes, let me see. It's not about just holding each other accountable for the bad things, but it's also holding each other accountable to celebrate the good things. And so that's where I do struggle greatly sometimes. Mm-hmm. I love encouraging my friends and getting them to their highest self. It's just sometimes when they achieve whatever that may be, I'm kind of like, okay, now what's the next thing we can improve on?
Right.
And it's like, well, take a moment to pause, reflect on that good thing that they just accomplished, and you can stay there for a moment. You don't have to always be moving on to the next thing to get yourself to your
I think that's why I really like this quiz and why we're encouraging you to take it, because, you know, some people may have taken a friendship style quiz before. Yeah. However, Jenny Allen really comes with a Christian-based perspective in the results. Yeah. So it's like, as Christians, as a woman of God or a man of God, this is what you can work on no matter what, you come out as being. So my result came out as you are the encourager. Oh, yeah. And I was like, this is probably one of my strongest gifts, is just encouragement. And it says the encourager is the friend who believes in you. Mm-hmm. They see the good in you and they call it out. It is easy for them to speak hope when you are discouraged. They see the best in life and they see the best in people. This person oozes belief and support.
Yes.
100%.
Support all the way.
Yeah. But now, going back to what you were mentioning earlier about the tip, it said this person understands that as a Christian, we're called to love and care and be there for people. But it's also important to remember that you cannot pour out of an empty cup.
Oh, that's so good for you.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I'll go through like different seasons where it's like I am drained. I need to step away and recharge. And of course, I'll do that periodically and I'll come back strong. But what I got out of this when I was reading the rest of the results is make that just a part of your life.
Yeah.
Where you're constantly just acknowledging, I may not have the capacity for this right now. Mm-hmm. And, how do I balance rest as well as supporting other people?
Yeah.
So that it doesn't get to this wall that you're hitting where it's just like, I am drained. I'm completely out of it.
Yeah.
I need a weekend away. I thought this was really cool. You can't pour out of an empty cup. And what that means is, well, what if people really, really need you? You also have to trust that I'm a part of the body of Christ.
Amen.
And so God has so many different people to be able to step in and help others. It's not just all about you're the only person that can fix it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. That was a really good encouragement for me.
Yeah, it was a great test. It was such an eye-opener. So guys, again, like I said, we're going to encourage you to take this, and then we'll leave the link in our description box.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so we're talking about what kind of friend you are. Here's where it started. Me and Andrew had a conversation this morning in the bathroom, and I was talking to her, and I was like, you know what? I am so tired of getting together with girlfriends, guy friends after long periods of time and coming to find out that they are just the walking dead on the inside.
Right.
They're so broken. They're so discouraged. And, sometimes we get together as friends and the first couple things is what are the highlights going on? And it may take a moment. Sometimes you can dig deep, but sometimes you may not have the time to dig deep. So I have to just be led by the Spirit to call out what I may see, and then we can move from there. But I am so tired of going long periods of times where my friends have been hurting. And I said to myself, Valicia, I challenged myself, you have to be a better friend.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can get caught up in our own healing and our friends are just dying out there. And I'm trying to get in this process with me and God, and I can get so involved in my relationship with Christ that I am just totally blanking out on. You have other people in your life that need to know the truth of the Word of God. And so I'm going to challenge myself starting today when I had this conversation with you, and I'm like, we need to get on the podcast. We're going to talk about this, that we have to be better friends. So today we are revamping the way we show up as friends.
That's good.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to get into, and that's where it stemmed from. I like to let you guys know what the conversation we had privy to jumping on the podcast. So I want to kind of dive through, and men, don't count us out. I know sometimes
it's like, oh no, this is a girl thing. I'm out.
This is a girl thing for friends, but I actually think that is an issue, because what I've come to find out with my guy friends is that men don't actually know. Well, select females.
I was gonna say maybe not all.
Not
men.
all men. I don't like to do, what do they call those when it's not all or nothing, right? So it's not all men when I say this, but a lot of the guys that I have known do not actually know how to be real friends, and not to men or to women. And so a lot of the times, and this is just kind of a sidebar, when we get into relationships, the best thing that we always say is, or the first thing we always say is, we want to be friends with our mate, with our partner. Like, I want to be friends first.
And that's the advice that everyone gives us.
It's
like, start off as friends, and that way it'll last forever. And so that is the advice. So, but I guess that's where we kind of hit.
But the issue comes into play that men don't actually know how to be friends because it has not been practiced. Like, it was a part of our routine as women growing up. We've always had girlfriends. Some may have struggled with that, but we've always had a group of girlfriends in each season or stage of life. Some of us, like, we have a best friend that we've shared for the last 20 plus years. And I have multiple friends that I've had for 20 plus years. So girls, we just do that. But, guys don't really think so. A lot of and what happens when you get into relationships, you notice that, like, a lot of the big moments where you're like, hey, like, that's a big moment. Or birthdays where you're like, you forgot my birthday. They're like, yeah, because those are behaviors or patterns that are practiced with girlfriends and it should be with guy friends. So guys, listen up, because I
really think it could be beneficial, because I don't think God wants us to go through this life alone or isolated. I think we make each other better. We make each other stronger. Yeah. We're able to encourage each other in hard times. And, I think male and female, it's not a female thing. It's a human thing.
That's right.
We really do. Yeah, we do. We really do need that connection and community
outside of the opposite sex.
Yeah, well, we can get into that as well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, we need same sex connections, and we also need opposite sex connections.
And sometimes, it's a good point you're making, because sometimes we will prioritize
opposite sex.
We'll prioritize opposite sex.
That's right.
Opposite sex connections, and then same sex. It's like, it's almost like whipped cream on top of ice cream. Yeah. Right. So it's like the ice cream is the thing, whipped cream. And
we do it too, because when we get into relationships, I mean, you were notorious for this.
Don't call out what I did. Talk about you.
It's the truth. We're gonna have to revamp. We gotta be truthful. The truth makes you free.
Crying.
But
I was notorious for that. Yeah. Right. It's like, okay, here is an opposite sex connection.
Yes.
So all of the same sex connections is like, hey, y'all just have to hang tight. Like you're saying, you neglect those things because you really didn't see, or for me, I really didn't see the value in it. It's just like, they'll be okay. Like, this is my man,
And the same with men. It's like, I'm not going to be hanging out with no guys all day and later. But, but it's like, it's not about that. It's just the human interaction. And I think a lot of the times our guy friends and some of the guys that we know in our lives, our dads, our brothers, they struggle a lot greatly. I know we talk about a lot of men's mental health issues because they are alone and they feel like they have no one to talk to. And sometimes they don't feel comfortable enough to talk to other men because it has not been practiced. So we want to make this normal. I'm trying to make this normal again, that men can have male relationships and have brunches and do all the things that we do, and it absolutely...
You just said have brunches, and that really just was like, really? But because we're just kind of conditioned to think that, like, that's a girl thing.
It's a girl thing.
But I think it's a human thing, and so that's a good point to make.
Yeah. So let's dive into the first question. So when it comes to friendship, what is, or the word friendship, what's the first word that pops into your head?
My first word that pops in my head is support.
Okay. And why do you think that is?
That's just that's what I would deem beneficial for me to give.
Okay.
And then that's also what I appreciate in receiving.
Okay.
It may even stem from my love language.
Yeah.
So one of my love languages is, words of encouragement and quality time.
Wait, words of affirmation is yours?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but it makes sense. I'm an encourager.
You are.
So,
yeah.
What I want is what I give.
That's true.
And then at the same time, the other one is quality time.
Yeah, I knew that.
So when I think of friendship, it's support, right? And it's really I see it within the context of quality time and words of affirmation.
Yeah.
I see that as that's a really good friend.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have to be. It may not be quantity of time, but the quality. So I may see you once every 2 years or once a year or, whenever we can meet up, depending on what seasons we're all in. But was it quality?
Yeah.
And was it supportive? I believe you can be supportive presently, like in person and at a distance. So that's what comes to mind. Support comes to mind for me. What about you?
Confidant is what comes to mind for me. I'm really big on that. Like, I want to because I like to create safe spaces for people, and I don't try to do this, but I can meet a stranger off the street
That's
and they
true.
will go, and you know this, I call you and say, this lady.
No, I've seen it in person. Like not just what you call it. Like I see it in person. I'm like, man, they are telling their life story to you
and
right
I don't
now.
know if it's just something I have on me, but it's like I've shared everything, and can you help? And I'm like, well, thank God that you can see Jesus through me, because that's the only way you would be able to do that.
And that's true. And I
Yeah.
think you do it in a very strategic way. I think, and you've made this comment before, that when you are willing to be transparent and
Yeah.
open and honest,
It opens
it
up.
unlocks something in another person, and it's like they immediately feel this relief. I
Yeah.
see it in person. I'm
Yeah.
like, they're so comfortable with my
Yeah.
sister. But I think it's because, wow, I've finally ran into someone who's just open and honest.
gonna
And they're
tell you
like,
the raw truth,
I've
yeah.
been waiting for somebody to share this with. So confident comes to mind for you.
Yeah, confident.
Confident.
That's what I want, and that's what I enjoy, and that's what I look for in friends. Who can I spill it out, and you don't, and sometimes you get judged. Sometimes it's like, ooh, that was, but I'm like, I just want to be able to be my most authentic self and share everything with you, and sometimes I can and hope that you wouldn't go and share that with any and everybody.
And it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because Proverbs 23:7 says that as a man thinks in his heart,
Yeah.
so is he.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you think, when the question was, what do you think, what word comes to mind when you think of friendship? And
Yeah.
I said support. Well, that's what I am
Yeah.
to others, and then that's what I expect to receive, or that's what I would appreciate in receiving. And the same thing with you. You're like, I would like to be a confidant to others, and I would
Yes.
like to receive that as well.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
That's so good.
I like that.
Sometimes I don't really think about that until I really talk it through. So I already know this answer, and I know it for me. But do you prefer time alone, or would you?
Okay, finish the question because I've already answered yes.
Or would you rather be around people? And you guys, what do you guys think? Let us know. Do you guys prefer time alone, or would you rather be with people? What do you think?
The doormat at my home says it feels good to be home. Like I don't, for all of the introverts out there that are watching this and all of the ambiverts. Now I know people think that ambivert is not real. It is real. That is the in between of extroversion and introversion. It's the in between, which means you can show up in extroverted ways depending on whatever needs to be done, but that's not where you draw energy from.
Well, I think where they say it's not real is that because even though you can do it, you're still not gaining energy from it in those spaces.
I know, but I'm saying most people think like introverted, like they can't speak, they can't, you know what I'm saying? They're
Okay,
super
okay.
shy.
I think- but- okay.
They get like this social anxiety if you have to do, something, if you have to network with people, or if
Yeah.
you have to show up in a space and be in the front.
Yeah.
We really can do that. And you can do it in such a way that people will actually think that you are extroverted.
Yeah, that's true.
But in my core, it's actually like a battery.
Yeah.
Like every day that I walk out of the door,
yeah.
I start off with a 100% battery, and I am literally tracking it internally. Like, where am I? And when that capacity's out, I may disappear, and people are like, where did Andrea go? Like, I really like being alone because it recharges me.
So that goes with the next. So what are the benefits of this? And I would say the benefit of that is it recharges you.
It recharges
in your. But then what are some of the challenges that you would believe happen from being
I think the challenges come from you have no accountability and you have no one really. They don't have like an inside to where they inside perspective or inside look to be able to push me further.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you do. Yeah. Because we talk all the time.
Yeah.
And if, and I answer your phone call, but most people, they're like, oh, what are you up to? I'm good. Like all is well. But you're like, no, you need to be working on this.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to force you to do it. Yeah. I'm not going to let you have like a day.
Right.
To just be, because I'm like, there's kingdom work to be done.
Yeah. You literally said that one time. I'm like, I just want to rest today. And you're like, not with the kingdom being on here.
Because I'm always thinking, even in the moments, and I know someone's going to say, oh, well, there's always a time for that. And granted, you go with the Lord with that. But for me, I'm like, there's always, in my mind, there's somebody's life that's on the line. Mm-hmm. And so where can I be pouring out? And again, somebody may say that's religious. And I just honestly don't.
Well, you're the challenger, though.
I am.
It's a part, I think that whatever friend you are, I think that they all are levels of how God chooses to express his love.
That's true.
So, I don't think it's like a right or wrong, but if to answer that question, I would prefer to be alone. And I know people don't believe that. I go out to eat alone. If I,
you do a lot of stuff
like
alone.
Someone asked me the other day, they were like, so you like, I think I mentioned like maybe something, like a couple of things I did over the weekend.
Yeah.
And they were like, who did you go with? I was like, oh, like I went by myself. And they were like, well, I would have loved to go there, or I would have loved to do this. Why didn't you think to reach out and ask me? And I'm thinking, that would have never come to my mind. I'm not trying to be rude. Like, I never look at an event or something and say, I need to call my homegirl and like, let's get together and let's make this a thing. Because I'm like, man, that just adds too much to it. Like, I'd rather just go and do it. Yeah. And so, and it doesn't mean that I don't love or care about people or I'm not thoughtful, but it's just like, I think it goes in line with this question. I would rather be alone.
Yeah. But
if I'm invited, of course, I'll show up and it'll be a good time and things of that nature. But I would rather. What about you? Would you rather be alone?
Yes, I would prefer to be alone. Like, it's nothing like me being alone, just watching my ASMR. Because, I'm not always spending 100% like God pour into me, but just watching my ASMR and just really being in a relaxed state. Like, if I'm not watching a podcast, I'm watching ASMR. And if you haven't looked it up, look it up. It's so relaxing. But anyway, it's like watching my rain. Like, I'll just listen to rain sounds.
People are going to think you're so weird.
They might, but that's just what I do. I go to sleep with rain sounds. That's just, I love rain sounds. So I'll just listen to that and just be, anyways, getting comfortable. So I would much prefer that in my alone time. But the challenge, I believe, is that, like I said, opening this, that people's lives are on the line. Mm-hmm. And it's a very selfish thought. Like, I just want to be alone. Like, he didn't put me on this earth to just be alone.
That's so true.
And just be listening to as relaxing as it is and as incredible as it is, it's like I have to look at my day. And some days I do it, right? But I look through the day and I'm like, all right, God, tomorrow I'm ready. I'm ready to take on the challenge. Like, I know that I consider it wasted. I do, because for me, I consider that time to be wasted time. I'm like, you could have been, and that's totally fine. I'm always listening to the voice of God, but that's where I believe the challenge comes in. The preferring, yes, of course, I prefer to be with me, with God, or just alone doing that. But the challenge becomes that benefit is I have a lot of time to go get poured into by the Holy Spirit. Like, when I'm there with God, I come out powerful. When I have my moments alone, and I can come out and I'm spouting things off, and then I want to go retreat back to being alone to go get filled up again. Mm-hmm. But the challenge becomes you don't have enough time to go pour out because you're always alone.
Yeah,
just you and God.
That's good. That's good, and it's making sure that we're maintaining that balance, because if not, like you're saying, time goes by really quickly. And you look up and it's like, man, we're at the end of the year, and and you're thinking, well, what did I do to influence and impact, make an impact for the kingdom of God? Yeah. So you do that through your relationships. So I like that.
Do you believe that you have a really strong support system right now?
You know what? I believe that I'm gaining some traction in that area.
Okay.
And I'll say, and this is why I say this, because I have been the encourager for so long, I tend to attract a lot of people that need encouragement.
That's true.
Right? And so essentially it makes me the pitcher that's always pouring. And so when I used to find myself in tough situations, I'm looking around like, geez, I don't know who to pull from, And so it's really cool to see myself in this new space where, in the last year or so, I've just been able to really pull from different people and really receive from them. in some places really feel safe enough to share something that is going on. I'm very, I'm more discreet than the average person. So I'm like, I'm not out here just sharing everything to any and everybody. So it's just been really cool to see God place various individuals around my life where I feel safe enough to express. Just the other day, I mean, prior to coming here to Atlanta, I called on a couple people and said, hey, I need you guys to pray. And I'm not one of those people where it's just like, pray for me, lift me up before the Lord. And so, but it was just really cool that I was able to get the phone and just say, hey, I need you guys to pray. I didn't even have to share details. And it's just, man, it's important. If you don't have a circle of people that know how to go to God and come back with, prophetic words and just words of encouragement to strengthen you in the time, you are missing out, because it was really a blessing to me. And it happened really quickly. So that was awesome.
I love that. And I think, now answering the question myself, I don't believe in this current season, just because I have been in a season of just me and Jesus for a minute now. And I don't believe that that's my prayer point.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were praying about that.
Just for some really good friendships where people can also pour into me, because like you, I am also the accountability holder for everyone that comes into my life. And I don't know if it's that I take the position on just because that's who I am at the core. So whoever I meet, I'm immediately attacking that in your life. I'm like, where are they stagnant? It gets highlighted, and we're gonna go attack it. But by the time we finish our conversation, so I don't know if it's that I'm just leading with that, or if that's just who is being sent to me. But I feel like I have no one that is willing to do the same. I'm not saying they couldn't, but they're just not willing to do the same.
Well, let me ask you this, because this sparks a question. So would you actually embrace that if someone did come to you as a challenger?
I think,
because, have you ever experienced that?
I haven't had it.
I know. So I'm just thinking, would you actually embrace that, or would you feel like almost threatened, where it's like, who are you? I wonder.
And I haven't had it done in person before. Okay. I've had people call me out on attitude shifts, things like that.
Okay, well, let me ask you this follow-up question. Was it opposite sex, or was it same sex?
Opposite sex.
So I wonder, just as a girlfriend, and they come to you and they present themselves as a challenger, would that be like, who is this? Because sometimes we're saying we want things, but I wonder if we're embrace it.
I want it because I need it. Like I don't think of myself as smart enough that I don't need accountability by men and women. So I want it because I know that I need it. And I need it from human to human interaction. I understand that I get tore up all the time by the Holy Spirit. Now, that conviction is beautiful to me. I mean, I have to eat it like, it's almost like you're just taking it. But I all the time. But it is healthy to get that from your friends, from your girlfriends. And so and granted, it's not that I just don't have girlfriends right now. Like I said, I have really good girlfriends in my life, but they're just in different seasons of life. So we're not communicating on a daily basis for every...
To really see what's going on in your life specifically.
That's right.
It's kind of like general.
Yeah, it's just general. I have friends right now that we meme it back and forth all the time. We have a lot of hilarious things, but the real raw things that are going on sometimes, because they have families with kids, I feel, and maybe it's because how we grew up, we were just we grew up in a home of like, do not go bothering people when you leave this house.
Before you even said that, that's always in the back of my head. And I know people are like, you should have asked me, you should have told me, I would have done this. And I'm like, it's it's in the level of the area of my subconscious, but I'm like, I'm not about to bother anybody.
And that's just, we just grew up, like, our family is just like, Dad instilled that in us in a subconscious way. I don't think he ever sat us down and told us that, but that's just kind of how we saw him move. and we kind of justified it by, when you behave this way, when we do reach out to people, we don't get a lot of no's.
No, that's true.
In fact, I rarely get no's.
If I reach out to ask anything, or if I really need it, I always feel like people are there, because it's like, if Andrea is asking,
she must really need it,
because more times than not, I'm just gonna make it happen. Like we're gonna figure it out.
I'm gonna figure it out. If I have to walk to the place, if I have to,
which I appreciate that about people as well, right? I appreciate people saying, I've tried different options before coming to you. Like, it's because I always say, like, if I wasn't here, how are you going to be able to get this done?
Yeah.
So I try to be that person. I'm not saying it's healthy or not. That's just kind of how I, rationalize different things
for years. And so I'm saying, for me, I'm willing and I'm ready to change that.
Okay.
Because this is a part of me being the better friend, which is what sparked this entire podcast. I'm ready to.
How do we show up as a better friend?
As a better friend, because it's more than just taking someone to an airport. It's more than just picking them up because their car is not. It's more than
having
that.
a lunch.
It's an opportunity to minister, and we cannot allow so much time to go by, and people are just not feeling good about themselves. And we, as encouragers, as accountability owners, could be there to help and uplift them, and we're not. And so that's where it's a very convicting podcast for me, because I'm like, and I really have been a pretty lousy friend, you know, and I don't like that, because when I get together, it's like, man, I feel great, thanks, Felicia, you know, and we move on. But it's like, where are you in the and the friends we have are never going to call us out on that, because they don't see it like that.
Yeah, they may not.
I don't think.
Again, I just think these are things that we have to work through on an individual level. I think you need to dig deep and ask yourself, what kind of friend am I? You know, and it really is biblical, right? This is not just something that's surface level. Ecclesiastes says that. It says that two are better than one.
That's right.
Right? And what is that? That's Ecclesiastes chapter 4, I want to say 8 through 10. But it says two are better than one. And it says, why? Because when one falls, the other person can lift it up. And it says, like, I pity the person that falls and no one is around.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be strong 100% of the time.
No.
There are going to be some times where you are weak. There are going to be some times where you are challenged and pressured and maybe lacking solution in a moment.
Yeah.
And you need someone to remind you of who you are.
That's right.
And what you have and who God is in your life, and maybe help you to see past your situation that you're in and you're feeling and you're kind of getting hit with. You need other people around you. So two are better than one. And so this is why I think that level of conviction comes when it's like, well, could we show up as a friend in a better way?
So I want to leave out with this one. What do you believe hinders people from developing and maintaining friendships?
Oh, I think it's several things, right? I think, and I feel like no one likes to talk about this, but competition, comparison, jealousy and envy. We could break that down all day long, like the difference between them. I think this hinders. It hinders. It's a crab in the bucket mentality that has to be uprooted. Because what happens is everybody is okay as long as, and in a friendship, we're here.
Everybody's on the same level,
right? But as soon as this person gets married, you're not. This person has kids, you're not. This person gets promoted, you're not. This unevenness,
it destroys
friendships when it should not.
Yeah.
Like what happened with rejoicing with them that rejoice.
That's right.
I just love you for you.
Yeah.
I love what I can be for you. I love what you're able to be for me. And I just know that I have your back. I know you have my back. I think that hinders us.
It doesn't. And I think it could be because people have thoughts like us. Like they're in a different season of life. They got their husband. Because I really do look at it as you've got your covering. And so you're good. Like you got your husband, you're covering. This is what, and this is again, this was in almost my carnal way of thinking, if you will. Like you're good. You got your husband and your kids, so you guys are fine. And that's why I used to say different seasons of life. But that was convicting to me, because I'm like, no, they still need friends, Felicia. Like it's not like I got married and have kids and I'm like, okay, I don't need any more friends. It's like, no, there's still things that they would like to talk about with you, that they may. There's still guys out there that are like, okay, I got married, I have a wife and kids, and yes, that comes with the day to day. I may not be able to be on the phone with you for hours, but I would still like to communicate with you. You tell me some funny stories that's going on in your single life, or just for even encouragement in my family home. I know you don't know the dynamic, but you can still encourage. So just because you get married doesn't mean your friends are over.
Right.
Friendships are over. Right?
Exactly. And then I wanted to add a couple more things where I feel like kind of creates this gap in between and why friendships can't be maintained. Being disappointed in friendships. Like, right? And not all the time is it a person that has unrealistic expectations. Sometimes it's just, you told me as a friend you would do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And you did not do what you said you would do. So that disappointment, I think pride is another thing that gets in the way. And it really hinders relationships from growing and being sustained. And the other thing that I really want to dive in, because I don't think we talk about this enough, is the feeling of being left out.
Yeah.
You sent me a meme one time, or you sent me a meme and I was like, oh my God. And it was like, does can we talk about that one friend
Yeah.
that thinks that they're your spouse and
Oh
they don't
my
want and they don't want
gosh.
you to be friends with anybody else?
That is, yeah.
But nobody's talking about it, right?
Yeah.
And I've run into several people along my journey in life where it's just like, this is super weird, like this is super clingy, but it's the other person feeling like, I feel left out that you are friends with someone else or maybe making other connections with other people.
I think it's a trauma response.
Is it really?
I think so. Now, because I've never struggled with it, and I've never actually deep dive it.
Like I've never seen friends eating or going to dinner, and I'm thinking, why wasn't I invited? Or
unless they were really unless we were in the routine of doing this. So let's say every Friday night we go out to a steakhouse, me and my 4 girlfriends, and then all of a sudden on a Friday night I didn't get the text to meet at the time. That might be a little weird. But I'm saying just random groups of friends and a couple of people over here.
I just believe realistically, people have more friends than just you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. This is not a routine of us. So just sporadically, we go to dinner every now and then. You may not come to every single dinner. There may be, because somebody may be more on the confident side where it's like, I want to just tell you this because I don't trust this
And
person.
I really believe that.
Yeah. So
Right.
I would only like to go to dinner with you so I can share this with you. This our purpose of going to dinner is not just for hanging out. I need to share something with you, and I believe that you may have a word for me. So things you just have to be very, and that's why I say it's a trauma response because that's not normal. I don't want to make that normal.
Yeah.
But I think,
And I think that helps us show up better as friends
it
when
does.
you understand that.
It does when you understand that. I think another, you hit on it earlier, and I want to say this, jealousy and envy. And I told you this literally 2 nights ago. I finally feel like I figured it out where that stems from. Because a lot of people, it's normal to be jealous. It's normal to be envious. Sometimes it happens. I think that the only way you can be jealous or envious of a friendship, a partner, a spouse, however you want to call it, is that if you're not being fulfilled. So you have not heard what you needed to do in this season. What is your calling for this season? And are you being fulfilled in that? If it comes from God, you will be fulfilled. And I notice when people are in alignment in their seasons, they don't have jealousy and envy. The times I've experienced it is when I did not know, when I was the most lost.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because what it does is their greatness or their success, have you, in whatever area, is actually exposing your inadequacy.
That's right.
And you'll be responding out of that, and people are sitting around looking like, this person is insane. Like, what is wrong with you? I did nothing. I'm just looking for a friend in this moment.
Yeah.
My support system, my corner, to tell me like, wow, I'm so proud of you, and just remind you that God is so good. God told you this was coming, but you are having this internal trauma going on, and you're responding and you're projecting out of that, and it's like, I'm inadequate.
Yeah.
I'm not doing what I believe. I think I should be further. So it's really hard for me to encourage you or celebrate you.
That's right. And I think we should just use these things almost as like biomarkers. Okay, I felt jealousy. That means I got to reroute this back to God. All right, God, I felt jealousy. What am I supposed to be doing in this season? All right, I felt a little envy of this random person that I don't even know. All right, God, what am I supposed to? I'm off. That means I do not know. I am not in the call of God for my life in this season. Somewhere I am off with you. So that should reroute you. Those feelings should reroute you and say, I need to go sit with God to figure it out. And I'm telling you, it ends it. When you are being truly fulfilled, there is no room for jealousy and envy. That stops it. But that hinders a lot of friendships.
No, it really does. It does. And I also say this too. One of the quickest ways to kill jealousy, like in a moment, would be celebration.
That's true.
Right? And so even if you, like, I don't really know how to celebrate, I heard this one guy say this, and I was like, this is golden. He said, look at them and just say, I'm inspired. I'm inspired, right? And like this, something that you're doing, something that you've accomplished, something that you have pressed through, I'm inspired.
Yeah.
And it really does it puts a halt to that feeling of jealousy that's wanting to grow and get kind of really big and ginormous in your life. You can put a halt to it just by celebrating there in the moment.
Because the truth is I actually am inspired, and the truth makes you free.
That's true.
So if you would just tell the truth about the situation, that would make you free.
Yeah, jealousy is just a perverted sense of inspiration.
That is.
You are inspired, but it's being perverted to create something toxic on the inside of your heart, which is jealousy. And so you don't have to sit there and just like let that rest in you. You can actually pluck it up through celebration.
And I think it could be, because I know somebody's right now, I literally just felt it in my spirit. Someone's like, well, there's plenty of like OF girls who are killing it, millions of dollars worth of stuff going on, and you could feel jealousy towards that. Like, I wish I was getting $2 to $3 million. I don't think you're necessarily inspired by the content.
But no, you may not be inspired by the content, but you may be inspired on a deeper level about someone who is just going for it.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Because a lot of times, you have a lot of people that will sit and dream. It doesn't cost you anything to dream.
That's good. Now, that's good.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
but
good.
To dream and do,
Yeah.
to hear and do, there's something on the inside of you that says, I wish I could be that person
Yeah.
to actually do what I said I was going to do.
And what they're, so I'm inspired by, in the wrong way, I'm inspired by the boldness.
Exactly.
Yeah, that you do have, especially if you've given your life over to Christ. The boldness is already on the inside of you, but I'm not willing to activate it for whatever that reason may be. But that's where jealousy and envy stems from, and that kills friendships.
I know we're kind of wrapping up to the end of this podcast, but I wanted to throw this in there because I feel like even in friendships, we have the tendency to want to make sure if you are my friend, I need you to be like all of my friends.
Okay.
Right? So it's just like, here's a friend. I determine people are my friends if they do blank.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's
so
promising.
every person that comes in my path, every person that comes along my journey, I am expecting you now to be this.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And if you are not, then you are not my friend.
Yeah.
And I think so differently than that. That's why I love the friendship survey, and we keep bragging on it, but we think that you guys should really take it because it shows you the diversity in how you can actually be as a friend. It helps you to really come into alignment with who you are, so you don't have to keep switching personas to satisfy what people believe is a friend. No, this is who I am, and this is what I would love to be a part of your life. But I can't let your expectation cause me to step out of a lane that I'm not graced for. Right? Like your expectation is for me to be whatever. So now I'm over here super drained because I'm trying to show up to prove to you that I'm your friend. I think that's a form of people pleasing.
Oh, it is. It is. That's good. That's good. All right. So what do we want to leave them with?
A challenge.
What was the challenge? What was the challenge you said you wanted to leave them with?
So, okay, here's your challenge. And we haven't done this on a revamp episode just yet. So this is the first of this kind.
First challenge.
But here's the challenge that we want you to do so that you can apply it. I know we're saying revamping the way we show up as friends. This is how you can do it.
Okay.
So this week,
okay,
we want you to identify one or two friends that you haven't seen or spoken to in a while and plan a time to either get together to do something or either plan a time where you can catch up on a call or a FaceTime, things of that nature, so that you really can have a moment to talk, to catch up, not to pretend about all of the highlights, but just really check in on them. You know, there's a saying out there, check on your strong friends, but whoever that friend is, strong, mediocre, or weak, if you have not seen them or spoken to them in a while, we want to challenge you to reach out. We're adults.
Yes.
We're revamping the way adults do life. So realize everybody is not sitting around twiddling their thumbs
That's right.
with nothing to do. So just reach out and plan it. It could be 2 weeks from now, a month from now, but just plan to spend some quality time catching up, whether that be virtually or either in person.
All right, and let us know, guys. DM us. You guys know how to get in contact with us. Let us know if you did it, how it made your friend feel, how it made you feel. Yeah, we want to know. But we love you guys, and thanks for watching. We will see you on the next.
See you next time.